fortunate to have Dr. Eddie Moore Jr. and Eddie Moore III with us. They attended the inauguration just earlier this week, if you're watching this live. And the experiences that they had are sometimes difficult to put into words, but we're certainly glad that we can live a little bit through them. Now, getting back to this question, and it's probably different for you, Eddie, than it is for you, Dr. Moore. When President Obama says we need to have a new dialogue around race relations, what do we need to do?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, and I've been saying this to folks for weeks leading up to the inauguration, and even at the podium in introducing Barack, they said the first African-American president. And for me, I just see it differently. And I think for me, having the conversation in different ways is critical in the 21st century. And Barack, for me, is a multiracial. The first, I mean, may not be the first. Maybe there's some others who have some multiracial identities. For me, though,
but they didn't admit it.
I think it's important to acknowledge the comprehensive multiple identities that he brings to this position. And I think that's what he means by diversity in the 21st century. It has to go beyond the limited conversation of black people and white people, but even beyond race to the issues of religion, issues of economic. I mean, diversity is a big conversation. And I think in the 21st century, we have to expand that conversation beyond some of what I believe has been limited in black and white.
Eddie, you're growing up in a different world than what your dad grew up in. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I mean, he tells me all the time about how, I mean, he took me through his neighborhood, and then I look around at where we're staying at, where I'm going to school. I just see complete just difference from my private school to, because I go to Bush also.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not a particularly racially diverse school either, though, is it?
No, no.
Does it matter to you? Does it? I mean, does it matter to you? Does race matter to you at all? Let me just ask it that way.
Yeah, race it's a big issue. It's hard for me because I've just been used to being not really surrounded by black people, because I've been in gifted programs, and now the Bush school, private school, not very well diverse, and so now it's just helped me to realize that we have to do something. We have to get some colored people, people of color, folks of color, into more advanced types of learning earlier in kindergarten and first grade, where I started out and was with the same group of kids until I moved up here for 10 years, 9 years.
Will we get to a place where, while Dr. King said that, you know, judge me on the content of my character, will we get there?
Well, you know, I think King in that speech said a lot of things. I think that for me, that I don't know if I'll see that in my lifetime, but I do genuinely believe that people more and more in the 21st century are genuinely engaging people by the content and not the color. What is difficult, Stan, is not individuals, it's sometimes systems. So that we can have a friendship that is solid through and through. But if we walk into an institution, the way you're received dressed that way and the way I'm received is very different. And so I think that's the challenge in the 21st century, is to continue to work on individual kinds of things, but to systemically, organizationally ask ourselves if we're truly judging folks by the content and not the color.
Is too much pressure being put on this one man, Barack Obama, to solve everything?
You know, I just think it's important to remind folks that this is not someone with the magic wand that's going to be waved and make it happen in seconds. And I think he said this as well in his inauguration. I mean, this is a people issue. And for me, it's important that we understand that he can be a leader in this, but it's going to take people to follow and to do things in the 21st century for things to really happen.
What are you willing to do to help President Obama?
I don't know what I can, whatever he needs me to do. I don't know what else I could do. I mean, like my dad said, I can work on individual stuff, hopefully talk to kids at school. Other than that, I don't know.
That's a tough question, I know.
Yeah, well, I can help him with that. I got some suggestions for him.
I bet you probably do. Okay.
I mean, for me, what I'm going to do for President Obama is really make a refocus, recommitment. And that's to be excellent to the ability that I'm fully capable in everything that I do. And that's what W.E. Du Bois was talking about, and his experience in the Ivy League was really how he would see kids, folks of color, who had potential but not operating at the maximum. And that's my commitment to President Obama and moving forward in the 21st century. It's what I do to my fullest ability possible.
What does he need to do to be looked at as a good president?
I think he's off to a good start. Be diverse in the number of folks and the kinds of folks he brings into his cabinet and into his circle. I think also not to only be domestic in what he's doing, but also to be global in what he's doing. I think the other thing that's sometimes missed that's important too is he's a husband. He's a family man. You know, he's a man of principle, virtue, of value. And I think that sometimes that gets missed as well. And often with, you know, our ex-president, although you may have difference in policy, I mean, he was a family. He was a father, he was a husband. So for me, I think that that's important for me as well. And I think in addition to all the policy kinds of things that Obama has to do, I think maintaining that family and that commitment to those kinds of responsibilities is as critical.
If he fails, if President Obama, turns out not to be a good president, if the economy doesn't get better, if we don't get more jobs, if race relations aren't improved, what's going to be the legacy if that happens?
Yeah, if Obama fails, the people fail. Because I think the success of the presidency, particularly this presidency and the way that it happened, it was people-led. And so his failure is the people's failure from my perspective.
Are you proud of your country, Eddie?
Yes.
So do you pick an American flag up and wave it?
I haven't yet. I'm probably gonna start now. I know I can stand for the national anthem at ball games now and be proud to be an American because I could be the president now.
Is there a difference today?
I think that there is a spirit that we experience at this inauguration, man, that's electric. And for me, I have to say that gives me some added energy and inspiration moving forward. And I think you can't deny the progress that this change signifies. It doesn't mean that it's all done, but for me, it definitely signifies that we're moving in a real good direction. And now it's time for the people to make it happen.
That reminds me, there is a new whitehouse.gov website from President Obama. It is different. It is very different from any president's website or any president's statement I have ever seen because it's really pretty specific. Go to whitehouse.gov. You can see it for yourself. And if there's a picture that we want to put up, let's put up another picture of the crowd because you said it was electric. We've got less than a minute left. Describe this crowd, if you would, to me. You in your writing said it was pretty loud.
Yeah, it was loud. It was diverse. It was community. It was positive. It was young. It was old. It was. It was. You know, kind of that cliche of the gumbo soup. You know. I mean, that's what that crowd was, man.
So,
and it was a little chilly too. So.
Yeah, a little chilly. So in the last. We're gonna let the young guy close us out. We got
Correct.
10 seconds to go. Eddie, good experience?
Great experience.
You ready to do it again?
4 years, I'll be ready.
All right. With that, we'll close. Dr. Moore, thank you. Eddie Moore, thank you. They went to the inauguration, and we got to live just a little of it through them. And come back to Scan TV, and we will tell you more. You can learn more about their experiences. And we'll see you right here next week on Public Exposure. Take care.